This is a sports catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter, everyone. Welcome to another sports catastrophe on this date. And on this day, January 18th, 1976, Super Bowl X appeared. It was the culmination of the playoffs, in which it was a tight playoffs, in a sense. So the road to Super Bowl X happened this way. Dallas was the number 4 seed in the NFC, and the Steelers were number 1. So the Steelers won their division. The Cowboys were 10-4, but they didn't win the division. They lost to St. Louis, which was the former home of the Cardinals. Well, of course, the football team Cardinals. So Dallas was the best non-division winner, so they got to face the number 1 seed Minnesota Vikings. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was the game when Drew Pearson did the Hail Mary. That Hail Mary that Drew Pearson caught. And I did a Drew Pearson birthday boy thing earlier this year. Dallas would then head to LA to take on the Rams, who took care of St. Louis for Dallas. And Dallas crushed the Rams 37-7, despite the fact that the Rams definitely would have had home field advantage. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, beat Baltimore 28-10. Now, Pittsburgh could have played Cincy because, it's 1 versus 4. But because Cincy and Pittsburgh were in the same division, the rules stated that they couldn't face each other. So it would be 1 versus 3, 2 versus 4. Pittsburgh would face the Baltimore Colts and beat them 28-10. Oakland would narrowly get past Cincy 31-28. Cincy almost pulled one out of the hat. However, Pittsburgh would beat Oakland 16-10. I don't remember if that's the game that had the ice thing that John Madden was bitching about. But regardless, this was huge. Steelers and Cowboys Super Bowl X, one of the best yet. It was actually the first Super Bowl in which the two teams actually had won a previous Super Bowl. Dallas won Super Bowl 6, and Pittsburgh was the defending champs and won Super Bowl 9. Pittsburgh were the odds-on favorites, obviously, because, they were the 1 seed. The pregame and halftime show celebrated the bicentennial because, 1976 was the 200th anniversary of the U.S. being founded and broken up for the British. The game was at the Miami Orange Bowl, if you must know. The Steelers had their steel curtain defense, and the Cowboys had their flex defense as well. So anyway, this was a huge matchup, and Dallas shockingly didn't win their division. So yeah, they did their job. Anyway, Lynn Swann actually was not due to play. He had a severe concussion in the AFC title game against the Raiders that made him spend a couple of days in the hospital. People thought that Swann was just going to be a decoy, if anything, to draw coverage away from the other receivers. Anyway, this was huge and all that. This was the first time. The Super Bowl X was actually the first Super Bowl in which penalties and information were announced by a referee over a microphone, and not just like mimed and all that. So anyway, it was huge and all that. CBS would have the game with Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire doing their job. That was the main Pat Summerall role with Brookshire before Madden came along. So anyway, it would be huge and all of that. Anyway, it was the bicentennial and all of that. Anyway, the coin toss was made, and this was the first time that the referee did not toss the coin. It was the U.S. Secretary of the Navy. Up With People did the pregame and halftime show. Of course, Up With People, a lot of people say they were squeaky clean. They were just basically a cult. Nah, they were too cheery, I guess. In fact, scenes of a movie called Black Sunday that would be aired in 1977 had filmed during the game because of a fictional terrorist attack on the Super Bowl via the Goodyear blimp. So anyway, this was the last Super Bowl to kick off for 2 p.m. So this was huge and all that. So anyway, the first quarter started, and the Cowboys got on the board first. Roger Staubach to Drew Pearson for a touchdown, Tony Fritsch extra point. Pittsburgh tied it on Terry Bradshaw pass to tight end Randy Grossman. Roy Jarella, Saskatchewan boy, with the extra point. Fritsch kicked the field goal, and then Pittsburgh blocked the Dallas punt out of the end zone. It was safety 10-9. So it was 10-9 in that after that play in the fourth quarter. So it was kind of dull, if you will. However, a pair of field goals by Jarella made it 15-10. However, let's not forget about the whole thing with Lynn Swann making those 2 acrobatic catches, including that 64-yard touchdown pass from Bradshaw to put the game kind of out of reach, 21-10, before Dallas got a touchdown by Percy freaking Howard. So, yeah, it was huge. Lynn Swann making those 2 major catches, acrobatic catches. I mean, Lynn Swann was a hero and all that. His stats were amazing. Swann only caught 4 passes for 161 yards. Amazing. 40 yards per catch. That's unheard of. 20 is high enough, but 40, wow. Bradshaw only threw for 209 passing yards, and he completed only 9 passes for roughly 23 yards per pass. Unfreaking believable. Franco Harris did his job of 81 yards and all that. So Roger Staubach, yeah, it was a pair of great catches and all that. Acrobatic and all that. So it did their job. A minute 22 left. Staubach gave it to Percy Howard for a touchdown. And then Staubach wanted to throw to Percy Howard. And he had the ball. But the ball bounced off Howard's helmet. Some say if Howard was actually positioning himself a few inches back, he would have made the catch, and it would have been huge in both Cowboy and NFL war. The funny thing is that the old Percy Howard, that touchdown catch was his only catch in his NFL career, which was shocking and all that. He had just 1 catch in his life, and that was a Super Bowl, and he nearly had a second that would have given the Cowboys Super Bowl 10. But, you know, it was exciting. The best Super Bowl of the first 10, but, you know, there would be much better Super Bowls ahead. Super Bowl 13 comes to mind. Did I do Super Bowl 13? I don't think I did. I'll have to take a look at when Super Bowl 13 happened because I don't remember doing that game. Let's see here. I just have to take a note. It was on January 21st. Okay, so alright, so I'm probably going to have to do that one. Yeah, so, you know, stay tuned in a week when I talk about Super Bowl 13. The Steelers almost got a 3-peat, but they lost the AFC title game to the Raiders, and the Raiders got revenge. Dallas would win Super Bowl 12 against Denver, so they got a Super Bowl, and these 2 teams would meet Super Bowl 13 in Dallas. I mean, in Miami, of all places. Man, it was amazing how the Cowboys and Steelers were massive and all that. And by the way, this was the last time the Orange Bowl had artificial turf, or polyturf as well. I forgot that Miami had played their games on artificial turf, and they moved to grass in 1976. And all that. So anyway, that's the last time that the Super Bowl would be played outdoors on artificial turf until MetLife Stadium's field turf in 2014. So yeah, clean game in a sense. It was great. Super Bowl 10 can't be denied. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.